Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 82 of my Umineko Let's Play. Last episode, finally, we got the full details of the solution to the epitaph, which was really fascinating to run through. It was like its own little puzzle, and it was just so satisfying seeing Beatrice kind of like work through the answer to it. So, of course, by solving the epitaph, she's become the new head of the Ushiromiya family. She has control of all the gold and everything like that. And by doing so, she also learned of her true parentage, of the truth of her birth, of who her family was. So Kinzo got that moment where he got to apologize to his child for everything that he put her through and her mother, and it was quite heartwarming. So Beatrice, she's made the decision to kind of like keep going as normal, I guess, to still be a maid. She said herself that she was going to pass on, like she was going to let Kraus be the head of the family. But there's so many other questions, like what happened after that moment, because she seemed to be kind of at peace with like learning the truth. So what happened specifically in 1986 that changed everything? That's still what we need to learn, so maybe we'll figure that out in this part. Continue on with this, and let's see if we get even more answers to the story.
This 私の話はおしまいです。
あら、それでおしまい？そこからの2年間が楽しいんじゃないの？
Yes, this is what I'm excited to hear about. I'm like Burn Costello's like, but we haven't got to the real juicy bits yet.
必要ね。どれだけ苦しみ、葛藤したか。
No, I wanna get the details.
過去のゲームであれだけ語らせて。
No, I wanna
これ
know.
以上語らせる必要はね。
魂が満たない家具たちの葛藤ですか。
決闘はしたのです。決着もつきかけていました。しかし1986年という年はあまりに無慈悲が過ぎました。
運命を呪ったろうな。
はい、あと1年早ければ。
If it had been 1 year sooner, 1 year later.
遅ければ。
So that probably has to do with Badler showing up, right? But the whole thing about like a year sooner or a year later. So even if he had shown up a year sooner or a year later, it would have made a difference. It's just the fact it was 1986 specifically.
決闘の勝敗は違う形ではあっても。
Okay.
ついた。
Silently, Claire hung her head. If only I had been given time, or else if I hadn't been given time to think and agonize. I curse everything. Why did it have to be 1986? Now this is the big question. What is it that like made her go from, like where we ended with her being the new head of the Ushiromiya family? She seemed to kind of be at peace with everything, made her peace with Kinzo in a way, to what happened in 1986.
委ねる決断をしました。
委ねる。
Was that with the epitaph?
先代当主より全てを受け継いだ儀式の時のように、私もまた奇跡という名の運命に身を委ねることを選びました。
It may be more accurate to say I entrusted my fate to the spin of the roulette. We could not even decide our own fate, so we let fate decide everything for us. Perhaps someone's efforts would be rewarded, or perhaps all would be joined and set free, aka everybody dies. Or perhaps someone would be kind enough to put a stop to this lunacy, because that's the thing. I've been saying, she's been wanting to be stopped. She didn't want to kill everybody, it seemed like. She wanted somebody to solve it.
どの運命をルーレットが指し示そうとも、私はそれに従うことにしました。私は運命に抗わない。抗ったって つだって運命は私に非常だったんですから。
But then there was that whole thing where it's like the game where someone did solve the epitaph, Ava. Everybody still died except for Ava, but I think that was because Ava kept continuing to kill, like she killed people, so maybe Claire, Beatrice, Leon saw it as fate, and be like, well, if the killings are happening anyway, then I'll kill everybody in that explosion. Or maybe Ava set off the explosion. Maybe she learned about it and she's like, I'll kill everybody off in that way. All the gold goes to me. Claire hung her head and let a single tear drop down. Humans will carelessly say that people have infinite possibilities. However, the Endless Witch knows how limited those possibilities really are. So within the limits of her fate, she tried to find the infinite. Alright, also, people have been telling me that the background music has been a little low in the past couple of episodes. I turned it down to see if maybe it would help me with maybe not getting so many copyright claims, but I don't know if it really matters, so I just remembered that, so I just turned the volume up on that, so hopefully it's a little bit better now. By entrusting her fate to God, she tried to find the infinite. However, this did not mean she abandoned her fate, because she spun fate's roulette with an unshakable and certain will. A certain fate where absolutely no one could escape if the epitaph was not solved. With it, she sealed up the island, herself included. October 4th and 5th, 1986, were sealed away by an absolute and certain will, and she entrusted herself to one of the fates that could be chosen in that short span of time on that island.
これで今度こそ私の告白はおしまいです。私の事件への動機はもう十分でしょう。これでわからぬならもはや語りません。どうせ私の心など誰も
So that was it. She
わ
wanted,
からぬでしょうから。
by solving the epitaph, people would understand her.
そうだな。もうそれ以上を語る必要はね。
But we still have a decent chunk of this chapter to go. People have told me, like, I'm coming to the end of it soon, but I mean, there's still a little bit left.
運命の袋小路に迷い込んだ私にとってリオン、あなたがどれほどの希望であるか
So yeah, this seems
わかるでしょうか。
kind of similar to Higurashi, with Rika wanting to find the world where she got her happy ending and everybody survived. Maybe this was like with Claire, where she didn't want to kill everybody. She wanted, and that's why the game repeated itself over and over, was finding the world, finding the fragment where it was solved and everybody survived. Or in this case with Leon, where she was accepted, and everybody survived, and everything seemed to be normal.
私はあなたの別の可能性、あなたが幸せであることは妬ましく、そしてそれ以上に眩しくて嬉しいのです。あなたという未来があり得た今の私にはそれだけで救いなのです。私の分まで幸せになってください。あなたに最後に会えてよかった。感謝します、ベルンカステル卿。
私はあんたの葬儀を執り行ってるだけ。感謝なんていらないわ。
So this is her funeral, because in this world, this version of her doesn't exist, right? Beatrice, the funeral Beatrice, because in this world with Leon, she doesn't need to exist.
ではそろそろおしまいにしましょう。
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. There's still so much left.
亡者は亡者の国へそろそろ送り出されるべきだわ。
はい、私のお葬式なのですから、私はあるべきところへもう帰りましょう。そんな顔をしないで。そしてあなたが私でなかったことをどうか喜んで、私もまたあなたが私でないことを行きます。あなたの分まで。ありがとう。幸せになって。 そして素敵な人と出会って、願わくばあなたが魔女として目覚めず、人間として生き、一なる魂を持って愛するたった一人の人を愛し抜ける、そんな人生を送ることを願っています。はい。ウィルさん、あなたという傍観者に感謝します。
This feels like this chapter is wrapping up, but I still have so many questions and I want to see more.
あなたは私が本当に理解してほしかった
Yeah, the one she wanted was Badler, right? But Badler already understands her.
救ってくれました。
俺はお前を理解する心をないがしろにしねえ。
I still like to think of Will as kind of like he is the placeholder for Badler in this game. He even kind of looks like him.
ありがとう。私は理解してくれた。
Oh, her final moments. Oh, we're gonna get more of a flashback here?
私の最後を委ねたいと思います。
俺でいいのか。
はい。私にとって大事なのは縁ある人ではなく、理解してくれた人です。
The one I wanted to understand me didn't. A person with no connection to me did. There's nothing sad about it. On the contrary, the fact that a person with no relation to me was still able to understand me is a miracle that I feel grateful for.
あなたは良き傍観者であり、私を理解してくださったたった一人の人。それで縁には十分です。
わかった。
私の心臓を名もなき素晴らしき傍観者のあなたに。
Oops. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Claire.
リオン、下がりなさい。
This feels like the end.
何が始まるんですか？
ミステリーは探偵が引導を渡さなきゃ死ねないのよ。
I mean, I should be happy with the answers I got in this chapter, because I got a lot. A lot was spelled out for me
お前の
quite
心
clearly.
臓だけ止めればいいのか。
死者を弔うとき、心臓だけを棺に収めますか？
わかった。土より生まれたものは土に帰る。お前のすべてを土に返そう。
土は土に、灰は灰に、塵は塵に、幻は幻に、そして夢は夢に。
ああ。
それでは、私の埋葬を。
いつでもいい。
始めましょう。まるで私の最後の
The
ゲーム
end
が
of my final game. Okay,
最後のように。
so are we gonna get a final game? We're gonna see what happens? Light gathered at Will's back, and a sword materialized there. Oh, I see. Slowly he drew it out. Its pitch-black tip, which could neatly slice apart truth from fiction, swung once, leaving a black trail, and then again, leaving a white trail.
真実と虚構を切って分け
I love this song.
きな。
It gives me, I don't know why it gives me like Phoenix Wright, like the Ace Attorney Chronicles vibes, but it does. Following Will's lead, a similar sword appeared in Claire's hand. Its tip glinted silver, the opposite of Will's. All right.
第一のゲーム。
Oh shit.
第一の
She is. She's gonna go over everything that happened. What? Yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I don't even care that, like, there's gonna be no mystery to it. I'm ready for the answers here.
園芸倉庫に6人の死体。
Alright, we're going down. And now we know, because it was Shannon was the murderer. She obviously didn't die in the shed. Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing.
幻は幻に、土には帰れぬムクロが幻に帰る。
Will's pitch black slash cut across Claire's body at an angle. The blade passed through her like she was water, but its tip sent golden flower petals scattering.
第1のゲーム
Oh, wait.
第2の番
Oh, so, okay, they're just implying what's happened. Oh, I was kind of hoping there'd be, like, literally, like, step by step, like, this is what actually happened in each game.
寄り添いし2人のムクロは鎖で守られし密室に
幻は幻に、幻の鎖は幻しか閉じ込めない。
A chain of illusions can imprison only illusions. Okay. The razor-thin black blur sent golden flower petals scattering again. Oh, it's good to get
第
a,
1のゲーム第4の番
it's good to get kind of like, like remembering, because it, like, especially the first game was so long ago.
密室書斎の老当主は灼熱の釜の中に
Oh, it's going to be really interesting if I go back
幻は幻
and reread, you know, the old games, knowing now that Kinzo is dead from the beginning
幻の男はある
and
べき
knowing
ところへ。
who the culprit is, right?
第1のゲーム第5の番悔いに胸を捧げし少年の最後
Okay, so yeah, they're breaking down the illusion, so that's implying that, of course, Shannon didn't really die. Kinzo was already dead, so that was an illusion. I guess Kinzo, or not Kinzo, sorry, Cannon didn't actually die. Some sort of sleight of hand or something, or like pretending that he actually got, you know, staked.
幻は幻に、幻想の魔女と悔いは幻想しか貫けない。
Alright, so he's breaking down which things weren't real.
第1のゲーム第6
And oh yes, man, that was a wild moment.
歌う少女の密室に横たわる3人のムクロ
幻は幻に、盲目なる少女が歌うは幻。
Okay.
密室幻想。
Alright, so there was an illusion of a locked room, illusion of Maria singing. What actually happened was the person, Beatrice, just told her to turn around and sing and not look, and Maria, of course, would do whatever she wanted. But the people did actually die. There was no illusion about murder there. Alright, are we going to move on to the
お
second
見事
game?
ですやはりあなたは素晴らしい
初めから危ういゲームだったな。もしもあいつがそれでも死に顔を見たいと言って踏み入っていたなら
Oh, who's
どうして
he?
いた。
Oh, this was so long ago. I'm trying to remember who was dead at the end in that room. Nanjo, I believe. Who else?
それが運命に身を委ねるということなのです
お前のルーレットというやつだな。
続けましょう
Alright.
第2のゲーム第1の番
Oh, yes, this was, yeah, okay. So this was the one where, yeah, Rosa was very suspicious in this one. I'm guessing that she was working with Beatrice.
腹を裂かれし6人は密室礼拝堂に
幻は幻に、黄金の真実が
Gold Trick
幻
locks
の
the
女
lock
王を
of
閉ざす。
illusions.
第2のゲーム第2の番寄り添いし2人は死体さえも寄り添えない
Oh, yeah, that's when Cannon disappeared, right? That was one of the most wild moments. I think that was
幻は幻に。
that is one of my favorite moments with the Cannon pulling the sword out and fighting the goat man. That was like a real what the fuck moment.
役目を終えたる幻はムクロさえも残せない。
Alright, illusions who have fulfilled their role do not leave a corpse. That would be canon.
第2のゲーム第4第5第6の番
I don't even remember that one with Shannon. I don't remember that death at all.
夏日の密室にて生き残りし者はなし
Oh my god, I am totally blanking on that.
土は土に、 棺桶が密室であることに疑問を挟む者はいない。
第2の赤き目の幻想に切り殺されし2人。
It would be nice to have names because it was so long ago I don't remember who she's referring to.
土は土に、幻は幻に、幻に生み出せるムクロはなし。
Damn. I gotta be honest, I was really hoping that like the rest of this chapter where you know, everything was broken down, like the epitaph, you know, the gold, everything, like it was so like this is the truth, that I was hoping that they would really go through I guess it's too much for me to expect that they'd go through each game and then like list down, this is what actually happened, this is how they died, here's who actually died, here's who didn't. So there's still a little bit of mystery to it for me. Every time the blade passed through Claire's body, golden flower petals flew everywhere. Bit by bit, the petals covering her heart were being torn away. The witch illusion was scattering. Oh yes, that locked room. The connecting locked room. That was a tough one. I still don't quite understand it.
連鎖密室がつなぎし6人のムクロ。
But I believe Shannon was one of the people in the locked room, so I just have to assume that she wasn't actually dead, and so she just got up and, you know, walked away.
幻は幻に、輪になる密室。
The
終
end,
わりと始まりが重なる。
the end and the beginning overlap. Okay.
第3のゲーム第2の番バラ庭園にて親子はムクロを重ね。
Ah, this was the one with Ava. This one, I felt like I had a good idea of what happened with this one. Because we know that Ava got into an altercation with Rosa, and I'm guessing Maria came out and was a witness, so Ava had to take her out.
土は土に、語られし最後に。
No
何の
falsehoods.
偽りもなし。
Okay. All right.
第3のゲーム第4第5第6の番
That was Kyrie, oh my god, Rudolph and Hideyoshi.
屋敷にて倒れし3人のムクロ。
I think that was just a confrontation the three of them had. I think Hideyoshi was working with Ava, and he went to go take out Kyrie and Rudolph, and they all ended up dead. Right? Because there was,
土は土に。
they found it was something like a cigarette butt, or something like that, that was like, oh shit, you know?
語られし最後に。
No falsehoods.
何の偽りもなし。
第3のゲーム第7第8の番夫婦2人は東屋にてムクロを晒す。
That was husband and wife. At first I was going to say Shannon and George, but they weren't husband and wife yet. So Kyrie and Rudolph were in the mansion. It wasn't Ava and Hideyoshi, obviously. So, it's got to be, it was Natsui and Kraus, right? And it would have had to been. I can't remember what happened to
土
them.
は土に。明白なる犯人は無情の刃を振るいたり。
第4のゲーム第1の番
Oh, that one was a wild one, right? That was when they disappeared under the ground and Kinzo apparently was alive, but we know he wasn't. So it was probably Beatrice taking on the name of Kinzo, especially now that we know she is the head of the Ushiromiya family now.
食堂にて吹き荒れる殺人の嵐。
幻は幻に。黄金の真実が紡ぎ出す物語は
Okay.
幻に帰る。
So that was just something that everybody was like told to tell the kids, right? A story. So they were probably told like, hey, this is the story that we're going with, and you have to adhere to it. Maybe they were bribed with money. And that was when they had the quote-unquote fights with Gap and Ronave. The love trial, yes. That's illusion, okay. Okay, so they didn't actually die, so that was probably all just told to Badler. Because that was the big confrontation between Beatrice and Badler. Alright. So the adults probably told the kids, like, hey, pretend to die. Or maybe Beatrice herself told them to pretend. And this is illusion too, because Shannon. Oh, okay, earth to earth and illusions to illusions. Adorned by fiction. Okay. Okay. Ah, so they thought they were going along with the script, but they actually died? Huh. Okay. Over and over, Claire's body was sliced by the pitch-black sword. As proof, the chapel was now filled with golden flower petals, which danced around like gold snow. The gold snow was like confetti at the finale of a show. The curtains were finally falling on the stage that was her. Claire slowly raised her hands. The sword she held became golden rose petals and melted away. She stood there arms wide, waiting for the final strike. Who am I?
幻は幻に約束された死神を魔女の意志を問わずに物語に幕を下ろす
The wide swing of Will's pitch-black blade cleaved through Claire's form. I guess it takes on a whole other thing, right? When you believed yourself to be one person and then you're told, like, pretty late into your life that you're actually somebody completely different. That's gotta fuck with you mentally. Blown away by a powerful gust of wind, her human form crumbled in an instant, became a storm of golden flower petals, and was torn apart. After she was blown away, a golden heart remained in midair, but it was too swallowed by the vortex of wind and broke down in flower petals. The golden vortex swirled around the chapel. Then the swirl of petals gradually scattered out of existence and vanished. A few remaining petals danced around like snowflakes, and those final vestiges decorated the chapel beautifully. A beam of light lit the center of the stage. There stood Claire, whose tale had ended. Then slowly, softly, she faced the audience and bowed. Applause spread throughout the theater. A long, long tale she had just finished telling was being given massive applause. It went on and on, and on and on. Is that it? The stage slowly sunk into the darkness of oblivion. Claire continued to bow in front of the unending applause, and as the curtain fell, she faded into the darkness. People are born with sin, and live life to obtain forgiveness from someone. Or perhaps they are born as mysteries, and live life searching for someone to solve them. Here, all of her riddles had been solved, with no lingering regrets. People are riddles. They want someone else to solve their riddle. They live life wanting someone to solve the riddle that they are, the most difficult riddle in the world. They want someone to look at the riddle they are, and they want that person to solve it. For her, that wish had been granted, but not by the person she wanted to solve it. Her soul will wander no longer. Rest in eternal slumber within your cat box coffin. So where do we go from here? The rest of the chapter? Because, I mean, the mystery's been solved. That was the whole point of this whole episode, right? Though there had been so many golden flower petals flitting about like a blizzard, not a single one remained. Everything had become dust, vanished as though there had been nothing there in the first place, and all was silent once more. Even the sound of rain was gone. The rain must have stopped at some point. And Leon's like, I gotta go back out now and pretend none of that happened.
あいつはお前に会えたことだけが救いだ。
そうだといいのですが。
逃れられぬ袋小路の運命と自らを呪い諦めきっていた。そんなあいつにとってお前という幸せな奇跡に出会えたことは何よりもの救いになった。だからそんな顔をするな。お前にしちゃ粋な計らいだったな。
私はアウアウから葬儀の執り行いを任されただけ。あんたという進行役を呼んで全てを任せただけだけれど。
ありがとう、ウィル。私がクレルに代わってあなたに感謝します。異なる運命の私の未練を全て断ち切ってくれてありがとう。
お前はもっと頭を抱えて混乱すると思っていた。
もう私は私がいかに幸せに生きてきたかということを、何かの運命に翻弄され異なる世界を生きていたなら、私は同じ運命の袋小路にいたかもしれない。しかし私はとてつもなく低い確率の幸運の中から今の世界に生きている。その価値と意味を教えられましたから。
何？意外そうな顔して。
魔女にろくな奴はいないってのが俺の持論だったが、改める必要があるかもな。
いいわよ、改める。
She's like, I'm a stone cold bitch.
私は退屈しのぎのためにあの子のゲームに乗った。そして負けはしたけれど楽しく遊ばせてもらった。あの子はそのゲーム版を畳まずに言ってしまった。私は遊ばせてもらった礼と敗者の務めとして最後の片付けを引き受けただけよ。
てっきりもっとひでえことをすると思ってたが。
ひどいこと？
心をないがしろにしたもっとひでえゲームを見せると思っていた。
Right? I thought that was the whole, yeah, like the end of the last chapter was her and Featherin being like, this is going to be such a cruel game and it's going to ignore the heart. But then again, she did also say she was going to tear the guts out of this game, and that's kind of what happened. Like, we saw everything for what it is.
ひどいゲームにしたわ。あの子がファンタジーだと称するゲームをあんたという探偵を連れてきて、
Yeah, okay.
ミステリーで終わらせたわ。魔女幻想は見事に砕け散った。
I suppose, yeah.
私のささやかな仕返しは惜し
It's one way of thinking about it.
この絡まった恋の物語を絶対の意志で終わらせる。その絶対の意志に絶対の魔女が微笑んであの子を2日間だけの魔女にした。私はその2日間という限られた時間の中だけで無限に広がる万華鏡を楽しませてもらった。私は祝福しないから奇跡は起きない。でもその結末さえもあの子が望んだものよ。 無限の物語は一体どの真実で本当は終わったんでしょう。
さあな、それを決めつけないのが猫箱ってもんだ。
開けば屋敷は跡形も残らず、エヴァを除いて誰も生き残らない物語。エヴァは何も語らず死んだ以上、全ては猫箱の中。
I guess that is something that we didn't quite get. It was like, I would have liked to see the end of that game from Ava's perspective of like exactly what happened, you know, from the beginning to the end. Like, who did she kill and how she made it out alive. I mean, it's the whole thing about her being found in Corridori, and you can piece together what happened, but still.
有限の箱の中にしまわれる無限の可能性。こうして思うと、彼女が生きて、そして死んだ島そのものが
Maybe that's going to be the next chapter. Because we got one last chapter. We have one chapter left after this, one episode, and I mean, a lot of the mysteries have been solved in this one, so maybe that will be like, let's break down that game and the aftermath, you know, the time with her and Angie. I do miss we didn't really get Angie. No Battler in this chapter.
猫箱を黄金鏡と呼ぶならね。そしてその猫箱の中で考えうる最も楽しい物語をバトラは書いたわ。
ベアトリーチェの棺に収められたその本か。
そうよ、彼が思い描いた彼女が最も幸せな物語。とても楽しくて愛に満ちた幸せな物語でした。私もあの物語が棺には一番ふさわしいと思います。
いや、違う。
え？
クレルは言ったぜ。お前という存在が彼女の希望であり、お前がこれからも幸せであることが何よりもの救いなんだ。
はい。幸せに生きなさい。あんたはただそれだけであの子の奇跡なのだから。はい、彼女の分も幸せに生きます。
よくこいつを見つけ出したな。あの膨大な海の中から、200何万高の中から探し出したのか。
私ごときにできることなんてせいぜいその程度のことよ。これで葬儀はおしまいよ。約束通り結界は解いたわ。あんたが立ち去れば時間も元通りに動き出す。
So I guess that is the end of this chapter. I mean, of course, we do have like the post game stuff, but
これでお役御免か。早く帰らねえとダイアナがまたカーテンを引っかき出す。
短い間でしたがお世話になりました。
あばよ、異なる幾百万の自分たちの代わりに幸せになりな。
so Will's just was introduced in this chapter, and he's just gonna peace out. He's a pretty cool character. I like him. When he left the chapel, a beautiful after-rain sky stretched out above him. That sky, which was a mix of rain clouds, gaps of sunlight, and the tint of twilight, had a beauty to it that couldn't be described in words. Will slowly descended the stone steps, stepping in the puddles. Then he waved without looking back and left the chapel behind. His form and footprints gradually faded away until there was no trace left.
じゃあ私も消えるわ。さよならリオン。あなたにもお世話になりました。あなたに心ないことを言った気がします。申し訳ありませんでした。あなたは私にとても大切なことを教えてくれました。何か？何も。感謝されるなんて100年ぶりだから、なんて返事をすればいいか戸惑っただけよ。
Birdcastle shrugged, then floated up into the air. Then she looked up at the beautiful 7 colors of light shining in through the stained glass, and spoke as though someone was looking down on her from there.
アウアウローラ、これで答え合わせには十分でしょ。これでわからないなら、傍観者の魔女どもを集めて お茶会でも開いて他の魔女の推理でも拝聴したら
Maybe that's exactly what will happen in the tea party.
私は意地悪だからこれ以上を詳しくはやらないわよ。考えぬ魔女はいない。なぜなら考えぬ魔女は死ぬか海の藻くずなんだもの。さあこれから戻ってあんたの推理がどの程度当たってたかを魚に一杯やりましょう。もう悪役もミコも疲れたわ。私もこれでおやじゃあねリオン、そして傍観者の魔女たち。
Birdcastle burst and disappeared. A single golden flower petal glittered. Leon picked it up. It was the only trace of a miracle that remained in this chapel. At that time, cheery voices could suddenly be heard. It was the relatives. They came out of the waiting room one by one.
リオン、ここにいたのですか。探しましたよ。
母さん、申し訳ありません。
That's gotta be crazy for Leon to also realize that that's not her actual mother. But in this world, at least Natsui treats her with love.
少し考え事をしていました。
やっと雨が上がったみたいやな。いい天気みたいや。
Oh, and finally, nice weather on this island, right? I guess with the mystery solved, no, there's not going to be any storm or anything like that.
皆さん方、屋敷へ戻ろうじゃないかね。これでベアトリーチェの葬儀は終了だそうだ。
お父さん、当主様は？
今来るぜ。今日は散々だったな。親父の葬式ごっこに付き合うのも疲れるぜ。
そんなこと言っちゃダメよ。大事なセレモニーだったわ。
そうね、お父様にとって大切な儀式だったと思うわ。
私お腹空いちゃったわ。ゴーダさん、何か作れない？
はい、すぐにお茶のご用意をいたします。
リオンはどこか。肩を貸せ。
当主様、ただいま。
As Kinzo came out after the others, Leon ran up to him.
今日は一日ご苦労だった。ベアトリーチェの葬儀はこれで終了である。
はい、ベアトリーチェの魂もきっと救われただろうと思います。
なぜそうわかる？
さっきまで私はベアトリーチェと一緒にいました。そして彼女が未練なく旅立ったのを見届けました。だからわかります。私がそれを保証します。
そうか。お前が言うなら間違いはあるまい。
The relatives left the chapel one by one. Leon left too, giving Kinzo a shoulder to lean on. A beam of sunlight peeked through the clouds, looking like a staircase leading up to heaven. Is that the end? Is that the end? Oh my gosh, it is too. Holy cow. Oh, great. Well, I guess I'll have to dip into a little bit of the after game stuff because otherwise this is going to be the shortest episode ever. Alright, well, now that we are finished with the main story, we can go ahead and check out the tea party. Also, if I sound a little bit different, it's because my old headphones, I've been complaining about them the past couple of episodes, how the audio kept cutting, so I finally got some new ones. Early Christmas present. Hopefully they sound okay. I'm still trying to work with the audio settings, so let me know how this sounds. But anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that. You want to get to the tea party. I want to get to the tea party. Because I still have questions. So many answers in this chapter, yet so much left unsaid. Okay, here we go. When I came to, all was silent. The lights were dim, and yet the room felt large. Where on earth is this? Okay, so we're back at the theater. I was sitting in what seemed to be a very small single sofa. It was very constricting, and there seemed to be several more of them off to each side of me. Once I noticed that, I realized I was in a theater.
ここは一体
Now, Leon's not done with this yet. I don't know how long I've been here, and more importantly, I don't know where this is. Beatrice's funeral ended. Everyone went back to the mansion, and after that, my memory gets fuzzy, and I can't recall anything else. Then I was surprised to notice the presence of another person. Apparently, I wasn't the only one sitting in the audience seating of this vast theater. The sound had come from a seat to the side of mine. When I looked, I saw a girl sitting several seats off to my left. It was a face I had never seen before. I wondered who she was. She looked like a high schooler, or a college student, about the same age as I was. Is it Angie? Angie? She groaned. Apparently, she had just woken up. I didn't want to scare her, so I decided to introduce myself first.
こんにちは
Yeah, Angie! I think I said in the last episode almost like, or maybe it was this episode, I can't remember, but like, we didn't see Angie at all. Like, I mean, there were hints of her. There was mention of her as a little girl at the family conferences, but we didn't actually get to see Angie. Especially with the last chapter ending with that weird conversation with Amakusa. I don't know what was going on there. Apparently, she was equally surprised to find someone other than herself here. Because in Leon's world, you know, the world where Leon is accepted and becomes the head of the Ushiromiya family, Battler and her family wouldn't die, right? So that would be her miracle world too. She jumped when she heard my greeting.
誰あんた私も同じ気持ちですどうやら私たちは望まずしてここにいるらしいそれ片翼の紋章えこの紋章をご存知なんですか
But it's interesting, why would Leon not have met Angie before? Because Kyrie still ends up with Rudolph. So I assume that Angie is also... I think they even made a mention at the funeral that Angie couldn't come because she was sick or something? Maybe I'm mistaken about that. But yeah, you think Leon and Angie would have met in that world. Does Angie not exist in the world where Leon becomes the head? She looked suspiciously at the one-winged crest emblazoned on my collar. Her stare, which was unmoving but not openly hostile, wasn't exactly pleasant for me.
先に私が名乗りましょう私は後宮リオンと申します後宮え何リオンです理科の理に魚するの魚でリオンと読みます珍しい名前でしょ
I mean, this family is kind of known for their strange names they give their kids.
名前の珍しさなら私でもごめんなさい私はあんたを知らないわ
道理でしょうね私もあなたを知りませんから
そうじゃなくてあんた誰後宮家にあんたなんかいないわ
どうしてそう決めつけられるんですあなたは当家と何か関わりが
私が後宮家の人間だからよ
それは
She showed me her left sleeve and the crest of the one-winged eagle emblazoned upon it.
お言葉を返すようですがあなたこそ誰です
I guess in Angie's world, with everybody else dead, she would be the head of the Ushiromiya family, right? So it's like the two heads meeting each other.
後宮家であなたを見たことがない
細切れにされたり朗読させられたり次は何今度はどこの魔女の余興なのこれは
She spat out those words and seemed to be complaining about something.
エンジェ私は後宮エンジェルドルフとキリエの娘よ
Yeah, so she doesn't exist in Leon's world.
エンジェちゃん
Or she
だ
does?
ってエンジェちゃんは
Oh,
まだ
6,
6つ
okay.
のはず
Okay. Okay, that's why. Okay, so I think there was the mention at the funeral that she was not feeling well or something. I didn't realize that the funeral was so long ago. Huh. Because I didn't know what year it took place in.
私が6つだったのは六軒島で最後の親族会議があった
It just threw me off because, like, Jessica and George looked the same age, so I assumed it happened around maybe 1986.
なるほどあんたが1986年の人間であることは分かったわ私は18よ そして1998年の人間
Oh, here comes the time lapses. That's what gets so confusing about the different timelines.
つまり12年後の未来のエンジェちゃん。
納得してもらえて嬉しいわ。でも申し訳ないことに私にあなたの心当たりがないの。あなたは誰？親は？
Well, interesting thing about that, about who her actual parents are.
母は夏日です。
それはジェシカお姉ちゃんだわ。
ジェシカは妹です。
どういうこと？ジェシカお姉ちゃんは一人っ子じゃなかったの？
By this point, I was starting to figure out the situation this Angie had come from. She's probably from the world where I awakened as a witch, the world where Leon doesn't exist.
説明するのは難しいですが、こう思ってください。あなたの知る世界と別の世界では、私も後ろ宮家の人間なんです。あなたの世界での私は別の運命により別の人生を歩み、後ろ宮家の人間として生きてはいないのです。
あんた魔女なの？
残念ながら普通の人間です。今の話は魔女のベルンカステルさんに教えられたことです。
ベルンカステル？あの青い長髪のネクラそうな顔した？
ええ、多分そんな容姿だったと思います。
つまり私はまた魔女の茶番に付き合わされてるわけね。
This never ends. No matter which world I go into, whichever fragment, I'm just at the mercy of witches.
私もさっき目を覚ましたばかりです。ここはどこでしょう？
劇場に見えるわ。何かを感激しろってのかしら。
今はそういう気分ではありませんね。出口を探しましょう。
気づいてないの？これ。
え？あ、これは。
Ah, the chains, just like with Badler. Clank. I finally noticed. Both my wrists and ankles had chains attached to them. As long as I sat here, I had enough slack I could move about a little, but it looked like there wouldn't be nearly enough for me to get out of this place.
いつの間に誰がこんなことを？
魔女の駒に落ちたら
Angie's like, first time?
永遠にあいつらのおもちゃよ。逃げられない。
Angie crossed her legs, making the chains clank together. She must realize no amount of struggling will break these chains. That getting panicky won't accomplish anything. She seemed to have nerves of steel.
魔女の駒とは？
あいつらの下僕みたいなもんよ。私は取引したの。家族に会いたい。あの日から連れ戻したいって。魔女はその可能性を与える代わりに私を魔女の駒としたわ。少なくとも魔女は約束を守ったわね。お兄ちゃんに会うことだけはできたんだし。
バトラ君のこと？
エンジェだと名乗ることもできなかったけどね。そしてそのささやかな時間と引き換えに私は今もこうして魔女のおもちゃ箱の中から永遠に抜け出せない。どうやらあんたもそのお仲間のようね。何を契約したの？
私は何も。
何かを魔女に望んだんじゃないの？
何も。
Well, I mean, Leon said that they wanted to see, like, what happened in the fragments. I don't know if that would be considered a request.
私という存在がどれだけ奇跡であるかを教えてもらいました。それだけです。
いずれにせよ私たちはここから逃れられない。さあ魔女たち、今度はどんな余興を見せてくれるの？朗読の次は感激？今度は私が
I
誰
mean,
かの朗読を見
Featherin
る
is
っていう
the
の？
witch of theater going, right? Or theater or something like that, so I feel like it makes sense. Are we gonna get to see a Featherin reappearance?
ならば始めてちょうだい。私はとっくに退屈しているの。
Angie yelled this to the pitch black stage. Her voice reverberated throughout the theater, but no one gave an answer. No, someone did. And that was also in a voice that rang out across the theater. However, that voice sounded theatrical, as though someone were announcing the start of a play.
あの日に何があったかって教えてなんてあげないわ。
Oh, that's Ava, right? That's which Beato Ava Trice. That's it.
へそでも噛んで死んじゃえばこの声はあのババアよ。エヴァおばさんの声だわ。あの日に何があったかとは1986年
Okay, are we going to get to see? Is this it? Is this what we get to see? Is what happened on that day in this fragment with, you know, the Beatrice who solved the, you know, the puzzle or the epitaph and what happened afterwards?
六軒島で最後の親族会議が行われた日のことよ。今日ですね。
Today is October 4th, 1986. As a prelude to the family conference, Beatrice's funeral was held.
驚いたわ。あんたは1986年の10月4日から来たっていうの？
Oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. I just realized when I was talking about, like, it threw me off with Angie being sick. So I'm like, oh, derp. Yeah, of course, she was 6 during the family conference. So, yeah, if it happened in 1986, yeah, George and Jessica would look exactly as they do when we saw them through all the games. Are so dumb. It's just I see Angie here. I see her as an adult, and then it threw me off. Sorry, guys. I feel so dumb. You know, I've only like over 100 hours of the story. You think I would, you know, like have everything down by now?
教えて。一体この2日間に何があったの？
The answer she seeks is inside the cat box. Even I can tell her nothing except that there was a tragic misunderstanding of the heart. However, I doubt that explanation would satisfy her. Alright, I think we're gonna get to see it. We get to see it all play out. Is this the world? Is this the one where, like, Ava survived? Is this, like, the quote-unquote, the true, you know, 4th and 5th, 1986, where, like, everybody didn't die? Then a pillar of bright light pierced the stage. Because there's so many different versions of it, right? But there's only one true version. There stood a figure in white. That figure, clothed in a white dress, was obviously Claire. Of course, Angie didn't recognize her. She looked suspicious, apparently wondering who in the world this was. However, even I felt as though something was wrong. Didn't she settle all her regrets in that funeral a short while ago, before being sent off into the next world? She stood all alone in the narrow beam of light in the center of the stage, and the expression on her face was lifeless. The light began to grow brighter and brighter. It shone more and more fiercely on her, until it became blinding just to look at her. Yeah, it's weird, because it does seem like she got sent off where she was like, somebody understood me, I can be at peace, kind of like with Kinzo, but maybe not quite. We didn't get the full story. The world was enveloped by a light so bright we couldn't keep our eyes open. Enveloped by a sound like wind or television static, and our minds began to go blank. And we get to see it play out all over again. This might be a very long tea party if that's the case, if we get to see it in its entirety. I'm excited though. This is what I've been wanting. I hope it's what I'm getting. I hope I'm getting like, alright, we're laying it all out. This is exactly how it went down.
めでるだけの俺たちは楽なもんだ。
どうかね。手入れしてくれる人たちに感謝しなくちゃ。
でもちょっと品がないのよね。兄さんが変に手を加える前の方が素敵だったわ。
昔のも昔ので味わいがあってよかったわよね。
マリアバラ好き。トゲがなければもっと好き。
You get to see Badler again. I've missed him.
懐かしいな、このバラ庭園。この6年ですっかり忘れてたぜ。もうそんなになるんだね。
And really, yeah, they're like hammering in the fact, like, Badler, you've been away for a long time.
このバラ庭園も、そしてバトラ君も本当に見違えたよ。
あ、紹介するよ。使用人のカノン君。
バトラとは初対面だよな。
はじめまして。俺のことはバトラって呼んでくれよな。よろしく頼むぜ。
今日はシャノンもいるぜ。一緒に遊んだの覚えてる？
ああ、シャノンちゃん。すっかり忘れてたぜ。
Yeah, of course you forgot. That was the whole problem, that you forgot about her.
元気にしてるかい？この6年でますます綺麗になったよ。
I mean, you might know, Badler, if you sent a letter to her.
後で挨拶するといいよ。
シャノンはジョージお兄ちゃんと仲良しなの。
マリア氏、それは内緒な。
それでは皆様、そろそろゲストハウスの方へご案内いたします。
After enjoying the lovely welcome provided by the roses, the relatives followed Goda in the direction of the guest house. October 4th, 1986. Rokenjima, a world without Leon. The day of the Ushiromiya family's family conference. I wonder what the reason for showing Leon is. You know, because Leon already saw all that, like, when she saw all the fragments, right? About, like, she knows what happens. But has Angie seen... I mean, Angie has been the piece. I feel like she has an idea of what's happened before, so, like, there must be a reason to show it to them again. The mysterious letter that Maria read aloud after dinner, just as she had been told to. The writer of the letter claimed to be the Golden Witch Beatrice and challenged the family. Solve the riddle of the epitaph. Otherwise, I will take everything. It was the letter that declared the start of Beatrice's game, just as it had appeared in so many games before. Had an unknown person appeared to complicate the inheritance problem? Where was the 20 billion yen's worth of gold hidden? What was the purpose of this letter? For what goal had it been written? Who on earth was this Beatrice? I mean, the thing is, like, I guess Will, he knew everything. Like, he had all the answers. He said he understood the heart of the story, but Leon didn't really, so maybe this is to, like, show Leon the heart of, like, why did I do this? You know, why did she do this? Why did she set up this whole game and kill everybody? Because she knows the how it was done, but maybe not the why. There was that tangled web of suspicion and paranoia that had been a constant in every game. The dinner of October 4th.
ジョージ君、申し訳ないけど、みんなと一緒にゲストハウスに戻っててくれるかしら。ごめんね。
シャノン、子供たちをゲストハウスへ。私たちはこのまま親族会議に入ります。
はい。かしこまりました。
Knowing she's the one who set it all up.
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェか。
Once again, like, didn't she say that Kraus could be the head of the family? What changed her mind?
味な手紙をよこしてくれるじゃないか。
碑文を解いてみろですって。ふざけたこと。あの黄金は私たちのものよ。部外者なんかに譲ってたまるものですか。
あの黄金さえ見つかりゃ、俺たちは全員ハッピー。誰も損がねえんだがね。
Yeah, Ava has something to say about that. She got greedy. Could have split it with the whole family, but nope, kept it all for herself.
行こう、みんな。ここからは大人の話だよ。やれやれ。ややこしそうな話だぜ。
ほら、マリア、行くぜ。
ベアとの儀式が始まったね。それでは皆様、ゲストハウスへご案内します。
これは何でしょう。
過去のゲームのいずれかの再演
An
か。
entirely new game. Ooh,
さもなくば
that'd be interesting.
新しいゲームでしょうね。どのゲームであっても10月4日はほとんど同じ展開だから。
新しいゲーム。これまでのかけらにない物語という
Ooh,
ことですか。
okay. I wasn't expecting this. I was thinking maybe it was just going to be like the truth of like what happened in the quote-unquote the real game, but I'm down for to see what happens in a new game.
私たちを鎖で縛り付けてまで見せたものが すでに知ってるゲームのわけがない。新しいゲームだと考え
This could just complicate things further, though. I was hoping like to get a full, answer to everything, but if it's a new game,
ならばゲームマスターがいるはず。それは誰？あいつ？ベルンカステル。
私にはそうとは思いません。クレルはもう消え去ったはずなんです。新しい物語を紡ぐ必要性がないはず。
There's gotta be a reason for this.
とっくの昔に昭和の魔女どもに乗っ取られてるわ。ベアトでさえあいつらのゲームの駒でしかない。
一体これは何のつもりで誰の仕業なんです？私たちに何を見せたいんだ？
Before this tale began, Claire definitely appeared on the stage. She is me from another world of a different fate, and the teller of the tale that is Beatrice's game. However, didn't she entrust everything to Will and have all her riddles solved? There should be no need to for her to make new riddles. In that case, is Bernkastel using this tale to test me? Along with Will, I have at least touched the deepest depths of this tale and understood the culprit's heart, so even if an entirely new tale presents itself, I should be able to see through the riddles. Is that what my role is? Is my role to teach Angie about the truth of this tale?
あなたは知っているんですか？この物語の真相を。
いくつかの仮説は考えてるわ。
Okay, so apparently, Leo knows everything.
でも、どの説にも最終的な答えは出せない。真相はいつも猫箱の中。断定はできない。
In this world, Angie is absent on this day, so it's only natural she doesn't know what happened. However, at the very least, I do know who the culprit is and what they were trying to do.
やっと自分の役目が分かった気がします。
どういう意味？
どうやらあなたは感激者で、私は解説者のようです。
何を解説してくれるというの？
私はこれから起こる事件の犯人を。
なんですって？
普通に考えれば何者かが私たちに碑文を解かす横取りを狙っているようにしか思えんがね。
同感だ。先に解いたなら猫ババしちまえばいいだけの話。わざわざ俺らに解いてみろなんて挑発するかってんだ。
使用人の誰かのいたずらだわ。あわよく黄金が見つかったらご祝儀におこぼれがもらえるかもしれないっていうさもしい考えに違いないわよ。
当家の使用人の中にそんな人間がいるとは思えません。
あるいは使用人のふりをして私たちの中の誰かが差し出した手紙だったりして。
それを言ったら一番怪しいのはあんたでしょうが。マリアちゃんに一芝居打たせてあの手紙を読ませたんじゃないの？
私はそんなことしないわよ。
予算かエヴァ、決めつけたらあかんで。今はみんなで結託して相談し合う時やないか。
そうね。あの怪しげな手紙は私たちの結束を乱すのが狙いでしょうね。踊らされれば踊らされるほどベアトリーチェなる差出人の思うつぼだわ。
キリエさんの言う通りだね。
Gary's always right.
あのような手紙など初めから意に介さないくらいがちょうどいいのではないかね。
私は最初からそうだと言っています。こんなの取るに足らないいたずらです。
そうやな、全くその通りや。おかしなクレームの1件や2件でびくついてたら商いはやってられんで。
主人の言う通りだわ。こんな子供だまし真面目に考えるだけ損だわ。本当に遺産騒動に絡みたい何者かなら手紙なんて遠回しなことをせず堂々と姿を現せばいいんだし。
だな。俺たち以外に遺産を要求している人間がいると思わせておこぼれに預かりたいってやつがいる。
This is the most I've seen them actually be on the same page about things. they're a lot more argumentative about it. Like, at first they started that way, and then they kind of quickly was like, alright, let's all get on the same page. Whether they are or not is a different story. They're probably all just going to scuttle off and try and solve the epitaph themselves, but, I mean, they were probably going to do that anyway.
遺産問題に口を挟まない代わりに口止め料をよこせとか言い出すのかしら。
それを言い出すならもう手紙に書いてるはずだわ。
手紙の内容は碑文を解いてみろ、さもなくは全てをいただくなる挑戦状だけだ。
犯人はわしらに碑文の謎を解かせたい。それ以上でも以下でもないっちゅうことやな。
つまりよ、こんな手紙気にしたら負けってことだぜ。
同感だ。まるで推理小説のようなミステリアスな演出だったので、ついつい私たちも面白がってしまった。我々も余裕がないね。
しかし誰がこんな手紙を。腹立たしいことです。
使用人じゃないなら私たちの中の誰かが書いたんでしょうよ。誰とは言わないけど。
I mean, Ava, you literally did say that Rosa was the most suspicious one.
よしてよ。本当に私は知らないの。
まあまあ、しかし手紙の言うことも一理あるっちゅうもんや。わしらは誰も彼も金が欲しいや。それもできたら今すぐや。それに異論がある者はおらんやろ。
そりゃそうだ。金と愛はいくらあっても困らねえぜ。
親父殿の遺産がいつ転がり込んでくるかわからない。しかし碑文の黄金は違う。見つかれば直ちに山分けだ。
ある意味お父様の遺産以上に目の前にある金だわ。
碑文の謎が解ければの話だけれどね。
ここにいる皆さんも碑文の謎にはそれぞれ挑戦されたんでしょ。
Kyrie asked the room at large, and everyone wordlessly nodded back.
ここには出題者であるお父さんの血を引く人間が4人もいながら、それぞれ
Oh,
が
look at
バラ
them.
バ
So
ラに
now
謎
they're
に
like,
挑戦してる。
alright, so they're working cooperatively.
効率的ではないと思わない？
So the plan in this game was to split it all, but something must have happened.
だな。俺たちはそれぞれが欲の皮を
Who knows, maybe this will be the game where they all work together, everybody gets the gold, and everybody's happy. Wouldn't that be nice if this was the world where, like, nobody had to die? Because if they solve the epitaph, nobody has to die. It's the whole thing about who gets to be the, that's where it would be an issue, is like, if they all solve it together, but then only one person gets to be the head of the Ushiromiya family, and that causes its own headache.
黄金発見時の分配等についてはもう俺たちの中で決着がついている。そして兄貴が次期当主であることを認めるってのもね。
There we go, that answers my question. So they're going to say, like, alright, Kraus will be the successor. I don't know if Ava would truly be on board with that.
それを引き換えに随分とふっかけてくれたがね。
私たちで協力して謎解きをしたらあの碑文も解けるかしら。
3人よれば文殊の知恵。それどころか私たちは7人もいるわ。お父様の遺産問題については私たちは今日おおむねで合意を得ているわ。余興のつもりで碑文に挑んでみるのもいいんじゃないかしら。
せやな、一服のつもりで。
Wow, this is going pretty okay so far.
バカバカしい隠し黄金などと。
まあまあ余興だと思ってよ。ゴーダさんに冷たいもんでも持ってきてもらおうぜ。一服しながらたまには兄弟水入らずで謎解きごっこをしてみようじゃねえか。
どうせ夜は長い。親父殿の寿命についてくだらない詮索をするよりよっぽど建設的だと。
Yeah, Kraus is quite happy to distract from that whole issue about Kinzo.
ゴーダさんに電話するわ。何か持ってきてもらいましょうよ。
お茶とお菓子とあと 台湾の地図でも持ってこさせる。
Alright, Ava jumped right on Taiwan. I mean, she did solve the epitaph on her own, so obviously she's smart. Two figures could be seen in the Rose Garden Arbor. It was George and Shannon's secret meeting. What if this was like, this is like the perfect run, this like New Game Plus version of this. It's like everything goes flawlessly for everybody in this game. As like the reward for all of the suffering we've had to go through with all the other games.
ジョージ様。
君を生涯愛することを誓う。若い今だけじゃない。おいてお墓に入るまでの全てを愛し、君を幸せにすることを誓うよ。
その言葉に嘘偽りはありませんか？
ああ、ないね。僕には君を愛し幸せな家庭を作る絶対の覚悟と自信がある。
その幸せな家庭とはどんなものですか？
うん、それはとても幸せな家庭だよ。車と庭付きの家、そして飼い犬が1匹。庭には家庭菜園。
Well, I thought about this a lot. I'd be like 2 dogs, minimum, maybe 3.
子供たちが駆け回り、僕たちはバルコニーから微笑ましそうに見下ろすんだ。それが僕たちの未来の日曜日の当たり前の光景だよ。
それは素敵な光景ですね。
Does Shannon not get a say? What if she wants a regular garden, not a vegetable garden? What if she wants a cat instead of a dog? You missed your chance, Badler.
声が大きいって。マリアが起きちゃうだろ。
I wanted that confrontation between Shannon and Badler, though. Like, it's not really Shannon's style to confront somebody straight up, but like, I wanted her to, like, let Badler know how she felt about being, like, abandoned by him.
そうか。そうだったか。言われてみれば、なんとなく今日もあの二人いい雰囲気だったしな。そうだよな。俺たちももう恋をする年頃だもんな。
この6年で私たちは随分変わったぜ。ジョージ兄さんも昔は頼りない感じだったけど今は違う。
それは思ったぜ。ジョージの兄貴随分と貫禄が出てたもんな。
But still, Shannon and George and Iki. That's a bit unexpected. They played together often enough 6 years ago, but I didn't think they were that close. Well, it's only because you were out of the picture.
この6年は誰にとっても大きいぜ。
だな。俺もこの6年いろいろあって正直六軒島のことはほとんど忘れてた。
まあ私もバトラーのことほとんど忘れかけてたけどな。
そりゃひでえぜ。
Talking together like this, it felt as though we'd been transported 6 years into the past. Those 6 years were so long I forgot almost everything. And yet, it's coming back to me, bit by bit. What if he's like, aw, shit. He's just like, fuck, I told her I was gonna come back for her. Shannon, 6 years ago, you were part of our group, and we played together a lot, didn't we? Back then, I think I might have liked Shannon. That was the age where we were all overly self-conscious, in love with love. I recall bittersweet memories of jokes involving melodramatic, flippant words, and there he is. That's exactly what Jessica and the maid, one of the maids said, right? About, like, boys and girls can interpret things differently, where, like, guys will make big sweeping, proclamations, but they don't mean anything by it. Sometimes girls take it to heart a little more than they should.
懐かしいぜ。今だったらとても言えねえような恥ずかしいことをいっぱい言っちまったような。思い出しただけで赤面しちまうぜ。
ちゃ
カノンはそそっかしいけど記憶力はいいからな。後でこっそり昔のバトラーの恥ずかしい。
Oh shit. Please do. I want to know that moment where Jessica's like, hey, did Battler make any weird promises to you or say anything to you?
よせやい。6年経ってるぜ。さすがに時効だろ。
But then Battler's mind, he's like, well, she's obviously moved on, so no biggie. I see. So Shannon-chan is going out with Georgianiki. What am I thinking? Could this be jealousy? I didn't really think about it until now, but that thing Shannon-chan and I had back then, that was probably my first love. Well, it's not like I have any right to be jealous after forgetting the whole thing until we met again.
Oyajiの故郷が台湾大正町であることは誰もが知る事実だ。
親父殿は今も時折台湾を懐かしんで槟榔を噛んでいるよ。若い日にタバコの代わりに覚えたらし
い。でも鮎が泳ぐ川なんていくらでもあったと思うわ。
鮎釣りの有名な渓流などいくらでもある。鮎なんて水さえきれいならどこにだって住んでたでしょうよ。お手上げだわ。
お父さんが子供の頃に遊んだ近所の小川かなんかとちゃうか。鮎っちゅうとるが案外船程度のことかもしれんで。
あるいは何かの比喩かもしれないわ。川が水の中。
Hey, there's Kyrie, of course. Of course she's on top of it. I'm surprised Kyrie didn't solve the riddle before everybody else, but she doesn't have the same history of the family that the other family members does. But, I mean, she talked to Rudolph about it.
水の流れない川とは？
さあね、何のことやら。
キリエが言うのも一理ある。故郷を台湾と決めつけるのも、愛の川が水の流れる川と決めつけるのも。
そう言われちゃお手上げやで。こら考えれば考えるほどに難解な謎々や。
そうよ、これはきっと謎々なのよ。キリエさんの言う通りだわ。頭を柔らかくして考えるべきなのよ。
大正町に近い川っていうと淡水河かしら。
Maybe that, oh, the Tomsway, right? That's also a line. That's the rail line, right?
あんた、話聞いてるの？水の流れる川とは限らないって話をしてんでしょうが、その川が鮎の川だって保証はあるの？
そうよね。
Now, if Rosa doesn't realize that she's like, could have got them close to it by that.
まあ多分鮎も泳いでたろうぜ。何しろ淡水の川だってんだ。淡水魚の鮎が泳いでても。
Oh, and then there was all the freshwater thing, right? Yep. Slowly making their way to the answer.
鮎は淡水魚。鮎の川で淡水の川。それで淡水河かね。言葉遊びだな。
面白い説じゃない。もう少し推理を進めてみましょう。川を下れば里あり。淡水河の河口には何て町があるの？
淡水と書いてあります。
淡水は観光で行ったわ。落ち着いた港町よ。夕焼けが綺麗だったわ。
その里にて二人が口にした岸ってのはあったか？
さあね、心当たりなんてないわ。
やっぱり懐かしき故郷というのは台湾のことじゃないのよ。やっぱり小田原なのかもしれない。
Oh, they're backsliding now.
すべての可能性を否定するべきではないとすると。
I like being on the side. I'm like, I actually know the answer. I know something that the characters don't.
私たちには碑文の一行目からすら話がまともに進み。
They were getting somewhere with the whole freshwater river, and now they're backsliding to be like, well, it might not even be Taiwan.
静かにして気が散る。絶対に台湾よ。お父様が台湾以外を懐かしいと形容するわけがない。
それについてだけは私も同感です。 お父様にとって今でも台湾は心のふるさとなのですから。
一行目ばかりに固執するのも良くないわよね。私は他の行について検討してみるわ。第一の番からをちょっと見てみることにする。
俺もそうするぜ。鮎の皮は姉貴に任せてその先を検討してみよう。
第一の番に鍵の選び師6人を生贄に捧げよう。ミステリアスね。わかった。
Ava suddenly muttered. All the others spun around to look at her. Ava flipped through the pages about Taiwan with incredible force, then found the page she was looking for, and slammed the book open so hard that it almost tore. This whole time, they'd been looking at pages with place names. As far as the overall mass of information went, those had seemed the most useful pages to start from. However, the page Ava opened was to very limited, or the page Ava opened to was very limited in the scope of its information. It was a map of railway lines.
川を下れば里だわ。あった。
何の話だね、エヴァ。説明したまえ。
静かにして。岸もある、口もある。二人が口にするというのはわからないけど、でも里も岸も口もある。
just like in she got it. I mean, I wonder if the others are going to help her out at all. If she's going to figure it all out on her own again, then she's going to be like, because I figured it out, I should get all the gold, and I should be the head of the family. You guys didn't do anything.
ここよ。絶対にこれが黄金の鍵の眠る里よ。
落ち着くんや。どういうことかわしらにも分かるように説明してや。
淡水線。なるほど。鮎の川というのは淡水線という名の鉄道のことだと。
鮎は泳いでいないと思いますが。
It was like, shut your face, Naso, you're so stupid.
見て、淡水線を下り方向に進んでいくと旧名がキリガンって駅がある。ほら、漢字をよく見て。里がある、口がある、岸がある。
ほんまや。里がある、口もある、岸もあるで。
川を下ればやがて里あり。確かに淡水線の駅名の中で里がつくのはその駅だけだな。
なるほど。その駅名を暗示しているようにも見えるね。
絶対にこれよ。間違いないわ。調べればいいのよ。二人が口にしの意味もきっとわかる。見て、これ。地名のキリガンのリは口辺に里だわ。ということはキリガンは口辺が2つ。すなわち2人が口にし。
すごいわ姉さん。これよ。間違いなくこれだわ。
このキリガンという町のどこかに鍵が隠されているということでしょうか。
どうかしら。ここまでの謎は言葉遊びだとしたら、眠る鍵もまた言葉遊びの可能性が高いんじゃないかしら。同感だわ。第一の番に鍵は6
She's gonna figure this all out on her own. I think the only thing that
本当に鍵状の形をした何かとは考えがたいということだわ。
she may have gotten some help because Rosa mentioned Tom Sway, and then Kiri said something about like it could be a metaphor, but she pretty much got all the rest on her own.
面白くなってきやがったぜ。
鍵の選びしろ。
I'd be the sibling sitting back and just throwing shit out there, not getting anything right, but then be like, but then I get my part of the gold, right? I helped. We agreed to it.
これから連想できる鍵を考えるの。そしてそれでキリガンという地名を噛み砕くのよ。私にはわかるわ。
That's the whole thing about the quintillion, right?
絶対に言葉遊びよ。考えてみんな。
面白いものだね。一人なら気のめいるような雨でも、君と一緒なら涼しくて気持ちがよく感じるよ。
そろそろ戻りましょう。カノン君を待たせてますので。
そうだね。僕もジェシカちゃんやバトラ君たちをだいぶ待たせちゃってるかな。
懐かしいですね。お嬢様にジョージ様、バトラ様に私で、
Oh, is she gonna bring it up?
4人で遊んでいた頃もあったんですよね。あの頃も楽しかったですね。
僕は今の方が楽しいよ。君を独り占めできるからね。
Well, okay. I wonder if George still has, like, just like Badler says, he feels a little bit jealous of George. Maybe George still feels like a little jealous, knowing that, you know, they were each other's, it seemed like they were each other's first love, you know?
ジョージ様ったら
They laughed at George's melodramatic line. However, George's laugh seemed just slightly forced. Ooh, yeah, there's some tension there. And I wonder, like, because Shannon was saying, like, how true George was being when he said that he promised he was going to make her happy. I just realized that when he said, like, I promise I'm going to make you happy for the rest of our lives. There's a part of her that's like, can I believe you? Because Badler told me something also melodramatic and grand, and he didn't follow through on it.
ジョージ様？
ん？ああ、ごめん。僕はね、未だにバトラ君の
Oh, here we go. All right, we're going to talk about Badler. Good, good.
コンプレックスですか？
彼はルドルフおじさんに似て快活だし面白いし、何よりも元気だし、僕なんかよりよっぽど魅力的だ。彼と僕が並ぶと自分が霞むのがよくわかるんだ。
そんなことはありません。ジョージ様は立派ですし魅力的です。バトラ様に何も劣るところなどありません。
本当に？
ええ、本当にです。
実はね、今年バトラ君が戻ってくると聞いて、僕は最初嫌な気持ちだったんだよ。
All right, well, at least George is being honest here. He thought that maybe, like, Shannon would jump back right into, like, falling for him again.
どうしてですか
？6年前、君と本当に仲が良かったのはバトラ君だった。僕は君ともっと仲良くなりたいと思っていたけれど、
Also, George, you were too old.
全く間に割り込むことなんてできなかった。
Although, now that we know, you know, the whole thing about, like, if Shannon was the baby from 19 years ago, she's a little bit older than we thought. So, that's actually not as bad.
指を加えて見ているほかないくらいお似合いの二人に見えたよ。
そうだったでしょうか。お似合いの二人どころか、私が一方的にバトラ様にからかわれてただけで。
最高にお似合いの二人だったよ。間違いなくね。
They were children. They were literally children.
君たちは付き合っているに違いないと信じてた。
I just imagine an older George just watching from the shadows, being like,
そんなことはありませんでしたよ。ジョージ様の考え
I wonder, oh, is Badler gonna get, or not Badler, is George gonna get a little bit, like, not aggressive, but he's gonna be, like, firm and being like, promise me nothing happened. He's still thinking about it all this time, all these years later.
僕は本当にみっともないね。今日君に指輪を渡すとき断られるかもしれないと怯えた。
どうしてですか？私がジョージさんの指輪をどうして拒むと？
バトラ君が帰ってきたからさ。君は本当は今でもバトラ君のことが好きで。 彼が帰ってきた今、僕は用済みなんじゃないかなって怯えたんだ。
ジョージさん、これをご覧ください。私の薬指に輝くこの銀色の輝きです。これは何ですか？
Silver glint on my ring finger.
そうだよね。ごめん。
Oh, the silver glint being, I thought she had something there before she got the ring. Being like, I chose you, so stop. Although, I mean, I would choose Badler over George in a heartbeat. You guys all know how I feel about George. Badler, I love him. He's awesome.
僕は何を動揺しているんだろうね。6年ぶりの再会でさらにかっこよくなった彼にまた嫉妬していたんだろうね。情けないよ。
いいんです。その気持ちはすなわち私を誰にも渡したくないというジョージさんの強い気持ちの表れなんですから。もし私の気持ちがバトラ様に移るのではないかと怯えるなら、そんなことを絶対に思わせないくらいに強く愛してください。私があなた以外の男性のことを考える暇なんかないくらいに愛してください。私だって怖いんです。私より魅力的な女性なんてこれからもいくらでも現れるでしょう。あるいは至らぬ私に愛想を尽かすこともあるかもしれない。生涯あなたの気持ちを私だけにつなぎ止めていられるか怖いんです。
それを君が怯える必要はないよ。僕は君を生涯愛し抜くことを誓う。
私もそれを誓ったのにバトラ様が帰ってきたら信じてくれなくなりましたね。
As Shannon giggled, George finally realized that his own lack of confidence had hurt her.
私は後宮ジョージさんという素敵な方を射止めました。そして生涯私を愛すると誓わせ、それを誓う指輪をこうして贈らせました。その指輪をこうして薬指に通した上で正直に告白します。私は確かにおっしゃる通り6年前
Alright, laying it all out on the table.
好きでした。多分ジョージさんより
Oh, she's being very honest. Maybe didn't need to add that last part, but she'd say she was going to be honest.
でもそれは6年前の話です。今の話ではありません。バトラ様へのその気持ちはこの6年間で整理され、思い出と一緒に過去へ決別したのです。今の私はあなたを愛するためだけに存在します。
Shannon spoke clearly and strongly. George gave a single, uncertain laugh. It was probably the same sort the George of 6 years ago had made. Then he straightened up his back and hugged Shannon without saying a word. In that moment, he parted ways with the person he had been 6 years ago. Alright, well, just when I thought the game had swerved me and not giving me, much more answers, the main part of the game ending a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. Thankfully, now it seems that, well, according to Ange and Lion, we might be entering a whole new game. And so far, it seems like it's going better than most. The siblings are actually working together to solve the epitaph, and it seems like they're getting pretty far in. George and Shannon are kind of like hashing out their feelings and being honest with each other. But I do still want that moment maybe between Shannon and Badler where they can talk things out. Like, so far, this game seems like it might be the culmination of everything else up until this point. I guess the question for me is, like, how will this game end? Where does this game fall in you know, the lore of everything. And will there be complications? Will this game end up in murder? Because so far, if everybody splits the gold equally, they've just, they've agreed Kraus will be the heir. What could go wrong? But that's always the question of this. What could go wrong? We'll just have to find out in the next episode. I'm not sure how much of the Tea Party is left, and then of course we always have the post-Tea Party stuff as well, so I imagine we probably have it still at least another episode or two worth of content. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned next week for part 83. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Kaori Makoto, Revealing Storm, Jared Fan, Tequila Mockingbird, Izzy Ibo, Joel Oostman, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Icognito, Locus Corollas, Wusing Chrysalis, and Zoran Ether.